All right. So just as before, when I mentioned to you all, when it comes to these live classes, especially the free ones, I really suggest that you just pay attention to the class. Don't worry about taking notes right now because this class, once we're done, is going to be uploaded to YouTube in its entirety. So you'll be able to pause it, take notes, do whatever that is that you want to do at that time. Right now, only thing I want you to do is pay attention to what's being said. I want you to look at the images. I want you to be involved in the stories because who knows what types of comments and questions will pop up because you are in the present. Okay. I hope you have your favorite beverage of choice. My beverage today is some tea uh, that we, of course, utilize on the website. Black tea with bergamot. Plus, I have a bunch of other things in there like oregano and rosemary and so forth, which are excellent for the memory and just the brain overall, right? So that's what I'm drinking. I got my combo formula that I'm about to take here in a moment. I got also a smoothie bowl over here. So I'm all set because we about to get into this. You get what I'm saying? So I hope that you also have, hope that you have your beverage as well. Also, especially when you get to the game portion of today's class, you will need a pen and paper. So get a writing utensil, whatever writing utensil you have, get some paper, because at that time, you're going to be writing down codes, you're going to be breaking ciphers. And so you want to have that handy so you're not scrambling at that time. Okay. So, all right, everyone. Okay. So today's class is called Secrets in the Shadows, and it's about codes, ciphers, and symbolism. The aim of the presentation is to provide an in-depth understanding of the concepts of codes, ciphers, and symbolism. We will explore their historical backgrounds, their application in today's world, and how you can create your own cipher or symbol. We will also explore different career fields related to these subjects. And lastly, we will have some fun breaking codes. Right. So understanding codes and ciphers. A code is a system of words, letters, figures, or symbols used to represent others, especially for the purposes of secrecy. A cipher is a secret or disguised way of writing. And just so you know, a code is also known as encrypting. But symbolism is the use of symbols to represent ideas or qualities. Okay, so the cipher is a secret or disguised way of writing something, aka also encrypting. Okay. While the terms cipher and encryption are closely related and often used interchangeably, they have slightly different meanings in the field of cryptography. A cipher is a specific method or algorithm for performing encryption or decryption. So in making the text unreadable to someone else and then decrypting the text to make it readable again. It is a set of rules that dictate how to transform a plain text message into a encrypted one, or one that, of course, cannot be read by someone else, or vice versa. Examples of ciphers include the Caesar cipher, which we're going to get into, the Enigma machine, which we're also going to learn about, and or modern examples like the Advanced Encryption Standard, which is AES. Encryption, on the other hand, is the broader process or technique of encoding information or messages in such a way that only authorized parties can read it. Encryption does not of itself prevent interference, but denies the content to a would-be interceptor. In this sense, a cipher is a tool used to process in the process of encryption. So you can say that encryption is what you do, and a cipher is what you use to do it. Okay. So to define it, a code. Now, let me say this because some of you all may not be in the STEM field. Some of you may not really care for technology in directly at all, other than, posting on Facebook or something like that. And that's okay. Don't become confused or get frustrated by some of these concepts that you may not know. That's why we're defining them and everything else. Again, don't worry about writing things down, again, because this is going to be put on YouTube. and you could take your time and go through it as many times as you want to and write things down at that time. All right. So I just want you to stay here in the present and just absorb what's being said. So a code, it is a system where a word, phrase, or a long sequence is replaced by another word, number, or symbol. For instance, red could be a code word for attack at dawn. Okay. So that's more of a code. Or how when police say 10-4, it is the code for okay or affirmative. Okay. Cipher, in a cipher, each individual letter or a group of letters is encrypted by a specific rule or pattern. For instance, in Caesar's cipher, each letter in a message is shifted 3 places down the alphabet. So hello would become core, K-H-O-O-R. Okay, so this is encrypting something, all right? So this is a Caesar's cipher. That's what it looks like. This is a basic form of encryption that was historically used for quite some time. And as you see, on the outer ring, you have just the letters of the alphabet. In the inner ring, you have the letters of the alphabet. And you have the wheel in the middle that you can turn. So when you turn that and you want to write a message, what you'll end up writing, first off, you have to let the recipient know what your key is, okay? And that key allows them to be able to turn that wheel to the specific spot that it needs to be at, so they're able to decrypt your message. If they don't have the key, it makes it very difficult to know what was being said, which we're going to get into great detail about that as we continue on here. So here is, for example, of a Caesar cipher, okay? So as you see here, you see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z, but you see the cipher text under A is X, under B is Y, you see? So giving you an example, in plain text, it says, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, right? But if we were to use the cipher, okay, to decrypt that, you see it comes out the THE is QEB, and so on and so forth. So if someone, let's say, for example, you're walking down the street, well, let's say, not even that, let's say like, you know, you need to transport the millions of dollars you manifested, right? And you need to let someone know where it's at so that they can pick it up, all right? And so in sending them that phrase at the bottom, if some third party were to access that and they look at that, they wouldn't know what that is, versus them, you writing it down, it has the address, it has how much it is and everything else, right? So differences between a code and a cipher. The primary difference between a code and a cipher is that a code typically substitutes different length strings of characters, whereas a cipher substitutes the same length of characters. For instance, the word hello could be coded as 8, 5, 12, 12, 15, because each letter represented by its position in the alphabet, or EBIIL in a simple Caesar cipher, okay? Because see, pretty much what you're seeing here, hello is 5 letters, right? And those 8, 5, 12, 12, 5 is also 5 letters, well, 5 numbers, but it's representative of those 5 letters. So in whatever cipher this is encoded in, you will go to that specific number and it will then give you that letter. All right, here. So real life examples of codes in action. The World War II, WW2 is World War II, Navajo code talkers use their native language as a basis for transmitting coded messages. Every WW2 combatant appreciated the need for an unbreakable code that would help them communicate while protecting their operational plans. The U.S. Marines knew where to find one: the Navajo Nation. Marine Corps leadership selected 29 Navajo men the Navajo code talkers, who created a code based on the complex unwritten Navajo language. The code primarily used word association by assigning a Navajo word to key phrases and military tactics. This system enabled the code talkers to translate 3 lines of English in 20 seconds, not 30 minutes, as was common with the existing code-breaking machines. The code talkers participated in every major Marine operation in the Pacific theater, giving the Marines a critical advantage throughout the war. Let's see here. During the nearly month-long battle for Iwo Jima, for example, 6 Navajo code talker Marines successfully transmitted more than 800 messages without error. Let's see here. Okay. Marine leadership noted after the battle that the code talkers were critical to the victory at Iwo Jima. At the end of the war, the Navajo code remained unbroken. So here's a real-life example of ciphers. The Enigma machine used by the Germans during World War II to encrypt their communications. It used a complex series of rotors and plug boards to cipher messages. The Enigma machine is a cipher device developed and used in the early to mid 20th century to protect commercial, diplomatic, and military communication. It was employed extensively by Nazi Germany during World War II in all branches of the German military. The Enigma machine was considered so secure that it was used to encipher the most top secret messages. Several different Enigma models were produced. Both the German military models, having a plug board, were the most complex. Japanese and Italian models were also in use with its adoption by the German Navy in 1926, and the German Army and Air Force soon after. The name Enigma became widely known in military circles. Pre-war German military planning emphasized fast, mobile forces and tactics later known as blitzkrieg, which depend on radio communications or command and coordination. Since adversaries would likely intercept radio signals, messages had to be protected with secure encipherment. Compact and easily portable, the Enigma machine filled that need. So let's understand symbolism. Symbolism refers to the use of symbols to signify ideas and qualities by giving them symbolic meanings that are different from their literal sense. Symbols can take the form of words, sounds, gestures, or visual images and are used to convey ideas and beliefs. All right, let's see something here. All right. Use of symbolism in literature and art. In literature, authors often use symbolism to give objects a deeper meaning that goes beyond their literal sense. For instance, in The Great Gatsby, the green light at the end of the Daisy's dock is symbolic of the underlying love, desperation, and the inability to reach the American dream. In art, artists use symbolism to convey complex thoughts and ideas through their work. So in this example of Pablo Picasso's work, where the bull and the horse are believed to represent political oppression and the suffering of people, respectively, this piece portrayed the horrors of war at their fullest, and as a result, has come to be a universal anti-war symbol. Examples of symbolism in everyday life. Traffic lights. The color green symbolizes go, red, stop, and yellow is a cautionary symbol. We do not need to make this difficult for ourselves. accept the symbols in the context of what they are shown, which we all do. How do I know we all do this? For everyone here who is of driving age, without thinking about it, when you see the red, yellow, or green light, you automatically know what to do. There is no thinking, which means you understand these symbols inwardly at the deepest level. Well, this level of awareness can be had with many of the other symbols that surround us. I'm just checking the levels here, everyone. I want to make sure that everything's okay. All right. So flags, they represent countries and nations. The colors and designs on flags have symbolic meanings. For instance, the American flag stripes represent the 13 original colonies, and the stars symbolize the 50 states. So when you look at that and knowing this, you automatically grab that. There's no need to pull up a book and read 100 pages going into all the details of what is conveying. You can look at it and know that's the power of symbolism. Historical overview. Ancient codes and ciphers. Hieroglyphics were a system of picture writing used in ancient Egypt. They are an early example of encoding information in symbols. The Caesar cipher, which we showed previously, named after Julius Caesar, is one of the earliest known ciphers. It is a type of substitution cipher. Okay, there's many different types of ciphers. This is just a type of substitution cipher. What does it mean by that? It means that you're substituting one letter for something else, which in this case is another letter. Okay, where each letter in the plain text is shifted a certain number of places down the alphabet. Medieval codes and ciphers. A cryptex is a portable vault used to hide secret messages. It was famously used in Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code. The cipher used by Mary Queen of Scots is an example of a nomenclator cipher, a system of both codes and ciphers. She used it to plot against Queen Elizabeth I, but her messages were deciphered, leading to her execution. So named after a nomenclator, okay, a nomenclator cipher, also known as a type of substitution cipher, is named after the public official who announced the titles of visiting dignitaries. This cipher uses a small code sheet containing letter, syllable, and word substitution tables that typically converted symbols into numbers. Originally, the code portion was restricted to the names of important people, hence the name of the cipher. In later years, it covered many common words and place names as well. Nomenclators were the standard fare of diplomatic correspondence, espionage, and advanced political conspiracy from the early 15th century to the late 18th century. Most conspirators were and have remained less cryptographically sophisticated. Although government intelligence crypto analysts were systematically breaking nomenclators by the mid 16th century, and superior systems had been available since 1467. The usual response to cryptanalysis was simply to make the tables larger. So because their codes kept becoming broken by government entities, the response, public and privately, was just to make it larger. Okay, which in some cases it did help, but again, if you know how to break it in its smaller version, and only thing they're doing is making it larger, well, those could start being easily broken as well because the way to break it is known. By the late 18th century, when the system was beginning to die out, some of these nomenclators had 50,000 symbols. Nevertheless, not all nomenclators were broken. Today, cryptanalysis of archived ciphertexts remains a fruitful area of historical research. The modern era codes and ciphers. The Enigma machine was an encryption device used by the Germans during World War II, which used a series. Okay, did I do the whole thing? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the Enigma machine was an encryption device used by the Germans during World War II, which used a series of rotating wheels to scramble plain text messages. Now, of course, this is dealing with modern era codes and ciphers. The Zodiac Killer, a serial killer from the late 1960s and early 1970s, sent multiple ciphers to newspapers, one of which was only recently solved in 2020. His letters sent from 1969 to 1974 were signed with a symbol resembling the crosshairs of a gun sight and typically began with the phrase, "This is the Zodiac speaking." Included among the letters were 4 ciphers or cryptograms, the first of which was sent in 3 parts to 3 Bay Area newspapers in July 1969. Technological advances and their impact. With the rise of computers and the internet, codes and ciphers have become more complex. Cryptography is now a key part of internet security, keeping our data safe from hackers or just prying eyes. So let's get into the history of symbolism. Let's see something here, you all. I want to make sure as I go along here that I'm not going too fast or anything. So if any questions or comments come up while we're going along here, write them down on your own piece of paper, obviously, or you can type them out in the chat room. And once we get to the Q&A portion, I will read off if there's any comments or questions at that time. So one moment here. All right.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I'm able to see as well, so there's no issue here. Okay. All right, so symbolism in ancient civilizations. The ancient Greeks also used symbolism extensively in their mythology. For example, the owl was a symbol of wisdom and was associated with the goddess Athena. The ancient Chinese extensively used symbols to represent abstract ideas. For instance, the dragon was a symbol of power, strength, and good luck, while the phoenix represented high virtue and grace. Yin and yang symbolize opposing but complementary forces in the universe. The Ashanti, a tribe in present-day Ghana, are known for their symbolic Adinkra symbols. Each Adinkra symbol represents a specific concept or euphemism. For example, the Guy Naami symbol represents the so let's say the power or the greatness of God, right? I'm not getting all tongue twisted here, right? So while Sankofa symbol stands for the importance of learning from the past. Symbolism in the Middle Ages. During the Middle Ages, symbolism played a significant role in alchemy. Each alchemical substance was represented by a specific symbol. Like the symbol for gold was a circle with a point at its center. Heraldry, the practice of devising, granting, displaying, describing, and recording coats of arms and heraldic badges, was also full of symbolism. The symbols on a coat of arms are meant to represent the achievements of the person, state, or corporation to whom or which the arms were granted. So many of you may, watch historical, movies or documentaries, whatever it may be. And when you see the different types of logos, right, or graphic representations on the shields and the banners and so on and so forth, that all means something. It's telling the opposing army, or it's telling their friends, their allies. It's all telling them their standing, sometimes even their standing, meaning, for example, like even like their wealth, their power, their war might, and so on and so forth, all just from an image. Modern symbolism. Today, symbolism is often used in branding and marketing. Companies use logos to represent their brand. For example, many state that the Apple logo symbolizes knowledge, or more so, forbidden knowledge. And the Meta Center logo, which is to your right there, which shows the projects we have completed together. So when you see, for example, the Meta Center logo, for those who know, which I'm going to get into here, you immediately see what we represent, in many cases, what you have directly been a part of, whether in just supporting financially or actually coming out and putting forth, your actual energy toward that project. So, for example, concerning the Meta Center logo, the balloon with the box you see there, okay, the balloon with the box, represents Project Etheric, which was the space research project where we sent monitoring equipment above the Earth, which is, for those who have not known of that project, it's on YouTube. I'm actually going to show a short clip of it later down the line in this video, in this presentation. But we sent something into space, which is 184,000 feet. If you know, of course, planes, they fly at 30,000 feet. Okay, 30,000 feet is what planes fly at. We sent this equipment to 184,000 feet above us. And the boat, of course, you see that boat in the lower right-hand corner, represents Project Whirlwind, which is when we set sail out into the Chicago vortex. We went over 2.5 hours in one direction. The entire trip was about 4.5, 5 hours, but about 2.5 hours into one direction, into the middle of the lake, and we weren't even in the direct middle, still at 2.5 hours, to study the phenomenon that is taking place in this region. And shout out to everyone here who are supporters, who actually helped that project become possible. And the buildings are those in the downtown area of Chicago. Okay, so these buildings are those in the downtown area of Chicago. Okay. So if you are interested in learning about those projects, they are available on the Meta Center website and on our YouTube channel. Usage of codes and ciphers in today's world. The digital world, cryptography, a method of protecting information by transforming it into unreadable format, is widely used on the internet. For instance, when a website is secured by SSL, it uses cryptographic keys to secure data transfer between the server and the client. Of course, this is happening all day, every day. Even all of us on Zoom right now, we are protected through SSL and this encryption, Cipher, and all these transactions between all of us are happening as we speak. Okay. The digital world, again, passwords are a common example of a cipher used by most people daily. They usually encrypt a user's information to protect it from unauthorized access. Even though it's a little bit different in that regard, how it's being presented here, still it's very similar. This password is using a combination of letters, numbers, and symbols. Now, of course, a cipher typically is encrypted. You can say you're creating a password, but that password may not mean actually anything at all. It's just something you created that's complex, so your account is not accessed. Espionage and intelligence. Codes and ciphers are still used in espionage and intelligence. For example, during the Cold War, the CIA and KGB used various types of ciphers to protect their information. For example, numbers stations. Mysterious shortwave radio stations were commonly used to broadcast coded messages. The one-time pad was a cipher system used where a random key was generated for each message and then destroyed, making the cipher theoretically unbreakable. So I'm going to give you an example of a number station. One moment here. So before I even give you that example of a number station, let me tell you what a one-time pad actually is. And when it comes to cipher systems in encryption, so you're seeing one example already, for example, the Caesar cipher. A one-time pad amongst many ciphers, even some of the most complex ciphers that even computers can generate, one-time pads are practically unbreakable. Okay, nothing is impossible to break, but the likelihood of unbreakable is highly improbable. And the reason why is because it's, again, it's in its name, one-time pad. You're using it one time, okay? And the message, the shorter the message, which we're going to get into examples of this later, the shorter the message, the more complex it becomes to break it. Because, for example, let's say what you see here on the screen here, which says espionage and intelligence, codes and ciphers, blah, 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 right? What I read there, okay? Let's say you put all of that in the message. Your message is quite long. So that's giving the person who's trying to break it just more to work with. Let's just put it like that, okay? Versus, let's just say you sent the word espionage, okay? Well, that's not giving them a lot to work with, right? There's no, there's no pretext before that. There's nothing really after. There's nothing after, of course. There is, independent upon how often you send messages. Again, it just makes it extremely difficult. And we're going to get into more examples of this so you can see firsthand, okay? So I'm about to play this here. Let's see, it should play here. Okay, first off, I want you to let me know if you can hear it, okay? You should be able to hear this noise here right now. Here you go.
One, 7, 3, 1, 7, 3.
So what you just heard here, and I thank you everyone for messaging in the Zoom. So what you heard there was an example of a number station, and literally all day long, what you were hearing there would just be playing all day, and then it may change up. And for those agents or those assets, they're also called assets in the field, they would tune into the station, and because they have the cipher to decrypt what's being said, they're able to know what to do next, whether it be, okay, go into operation mode 4, or it's time to escalate, or meet me at the rendezvous point at this location, and so forth, okay? And that's all, again, that's all done by those number stations. So in today's world, intelligence agencies use advanced cryptographic techniques to secure their communications. In the field of intelligence, cryptography plays a crucial role. Agencies like the National Security Agency, which is the NSA, in the it's in the US, or Government Communications Headquarters, GCHQ, in the UK, employ cryptographers who develop and crack codes and ciphers. Signet, or signals intelligence, is a key intelligence gathering method that involves intercepting signals between people, which is communications intelligence, or from electronic signals not directly used in communication, electronic intelligence. Successfully intercepting and decrypting enemy communication can provide valuable information. And that valuable information necessarily does not even mean, let's go back there. Valuable information necessarily does not mean like evil deeds. Okay, like, okay, we are spying on this people or this person or whoever because they're up to no good. It could be even this person or people or this company is creating some new technology that's going to change the world. We want to know how they do it. And so they would spy on their via different methods to intercept their signals of communication to know what they're doing, of course. Leisure and entertainment. Codes and ciphers have become popular in games and entertainment. They are often used in escape rooms to create challenges for players. They are also used in popular culture, such as the puzzles in the National Treasure movies, or the alignment configuration embedded within the Rubik's Cube-like box in the movie Hellraiser. And the alignment configuration, or the lament configuration, is a fictional puzzle box, supposedly. Okay, for those who've seen the movies Hellraiser. Career fields related to codes, ciphers, and symbolism. Cryptographers, this is in the realm of cryptography. Cryptographers design, implement, and analyze algorithms and systems to secure data. They often work in government intelligence, cybersecurity companies, or technology companies that need to secure user data. They usually have a strong background in mathematics and computer science. You know, entry-level cryptographers, anywhere from 60 to 80K per year. Now, again, this is, you know, it could be much more than that. It just depends. You know, I took the average across the board, but in many major cities, even in some countries like Sweden and other places, it was much higher. Okay, experienced cryptographers 120 to 160,000 per year, and senior lead cryptographers could exceed 200,000 per year, particularly in high demand areas or senior roles in government or leading tech companies. Linguists might focus on symbolic systems and languages, including how meaning is constructed and understood. This can involve studying codes, ciphers, or symbolic systems in different cultures. 50 to 80,000, again, that was a low average, okay? Very low average. It was, in many cases, much higher than that. So let's see here. Semiotics is the study of symbols and sign processes, indication, designation, likeness, analogies, metaphors, symbolism, signification, and communication. Careers can be in academia, marketing, communication, and media studies. Salaries in this field vary greatly depending on application. In advertising or marketing, salaries could range from 50,000 to 100,000 per year. Again, much more. I took the very low, on the low scale, the averages, okay? So I'm showing you that the reason why I'm doing this is because symbolism in many of these areas we talked about, many of them look at it as just esoteric studies, okay? And I'm talking about those who even are very good at studying in that esoteric way, okay? They just keep it in that realm when there's literally even whole career fields around us that a person can have a very well-off life putting those practices into action. Graphic design and branding. Graphic designers often work with symbolism, creating logos and designs that represent a company's brand or message. A deep understanding of symbolism can help create designs that resonate with a target audience. So again, 50 to 80,000 per year, you know, again, which is on the lower end, but higher end for more experienced designers or those with specialized skills. So let's say you became an expert in symbolism. Okay, that would be sought after, because especially if I'm, even depending upon what the message is, if you just deploy this symbol and all of a sudden it activates people a certain way, okay, hopefully for the positive and so on and so forth. Oh yeah, that's a power that many would pay lots of money for. And the reason why I'm attaching it to monetary value is because in most cases, people think monetarily. 60,000 to 100,000 per year at senior levels, this could increase significantly. Again, graphic design especially, it could go much higher than that. Museum curators and historians. In art history or cultural museums might specialize in the symbolism of different cultures or time periods. They educate the public about the history and the meanings of different symbols. Approximately around 45 to 80,000 per year. Director roles or prestigious museums can exceed this range. And I mean, I've seen salaries in the $200,000, even $300,000 range, okay? And that wasn't uncommon. So historians might focus on how codes, ciphers, and symbols have been used throughout history and how they have shaped human civilization and events. 60 to 100,000 per year, salaries can vary widely based on specific roles and whether they are in academia, public sector or private sector and location and so on and so forth. But yeah, so intelligence analysts. Intelligence analysts at agencies like the CIA or FBI analyze data from various sources to produce actionable intelligence. This may involve working with codes and ciphers, particularly in roles focused on signals intelligence. Entry-level intelligence analysts, around 60 to 70,000, experience anywhere from around 85 to 120,000, but it could be more than that, of course. And senior intelligence analysts could exceed 150,000 per year, particularly in high demand areas or senior roles. Cryptanalysts. Cryptanalysts specifically work on codes and ciphers, attempting to decrypt and understand them. They may work in government intelligence agencies like the NSA, in military roles, or in the private sector. Cybersecurity roles, entry level, again, 70, 90,000. Experience of 100 to 130,000. Senior lead could exceed 160,000. Again, I took the low ball aspects of this because this is not a, okay, we're going to get into some aspects here and it's going to be made easy, but these fields can get challenging. And because of that, the pay reflects that, okay? Forensic linguists. Forensic linguists analyze the language and symbols used in communications to provide insights in legal and criminal contexts. They might work for law enforcement or as consultants. Again, you see there on the low end, 55,000 for entry level, up to over 120,000 for senior forensic linguists, okay? Now, we cover only a few of the many fields that involve code, cipher, and symbolism, but there are many, 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 many more, okay? So I just wanted to give you all, as we go deeper into this, I just wanted to give you all examples of real world application to what we're talking about, okay? It doesn't have to stay esoteric. It doesn't have to stay metaphysical, right? Because we are a metaphysical organization, of course. It doesn't have to stay in that realm at all. Myself, I've been in STEM for decades. I've done all types of things. We've done, again, and anything the community wants, especially when it's dealing with construction of engineering things, so on and so forth, we create these things, okay? So whatever, as many of you know. So, you know, many of you are very intelligent, especially I know there's many young ones actually on the call right now. You can do whatever your mind puts you to, but just stay focused, and we'll get into more of that later. So creating your own cipher. Here is the Mexican Army cipher, okay? So this cipher system you see here, each of the wheels can move, okay? It can create up to around 450,000, okay? That's 450,000 unique key codes are possible to set the machine at. So I'm going to show you this machine here. All right, so for those who can see me on the screen, okay, so here is the Mexican Army cipher. And as you see, I'm turning the wheels, right? So these wheels turn, okay? And so each time, so for example, and let's say I have it right here. Let's see. Let's say I have it set like that. So it's set at a certain point there, you see? And just moving one of the wheels. So I can't, you know, show you and move at the same time, but just moving one of the wheels, now the cipher is different, okay? Meaning that you could choose different numbers now in one of the wheels that now makes it more difficult to know what it is that you may be talking about. The Mexican Army cipher wheel is a polyalphabetic monographic substitution cipher. The wheel consists of 5 discs, the position of which can be freely adjusted from the outside to the inside. Letters A through Z, numbers 1 through 26. During the Mexican-American War, which was from 1846 to 1848, and Mexican Revolution, which was from 1913 to 1917, the Mexican Army used ciphers, including a cipher wheel like the one you see pictured, okay? As you see how it was very portable, just hold it in your hand. Now, someone may potentially think here, like, okay, if this can do 450,000 unique key codes, if I create, let's say where it's at on the screen right now, right? How you see it right now that we're all looking at. Okay, I may have it there, but what if the other person doesn't have it there? Will they be able to break the code that I'm sending them? No, they won't. They have to know where you have it keyed at, okay, to be able to break the code. So, for example, what you may do is either you have you already have a schedule set up where at a certain time they automatically adjust it to a certain, they turn the wheel a certain way, or you have to somehow communicate that this is what the key is so they could break the cipher, okay? And how you can do that is, for example, in this case, right, let's say right, we see 23, okay, the wheel's not properly set there, as you see, okay, it's kind of turned more what it should, but let's say I 23 44 62. Okay, let's say that is what lines up perfectly. Okay, well, maybe in your first coded sequence to them, you would tell them that you would say 20 I 23 44 62, and then they would know to adjust it to that, and in that, and adjusting in the wheel to that is going to adjust all the other wheels around it. Okay, and then you can actually send the true message. Okay. So here is the Janelle cipher. Okay, as you see, this one's it's many more numbers. Okay, it's many more numbers. Also, it has the unique characters like the @ sign that we use in emails and other unique characters also around it. So this cipher, just because of the added numbers, you see, and it goes up to 130. Okay, 130. Actually, no. No, actually, it goes up to 160. Okay, 160. So because of these added numbers, this particular cipher is capable of 2,560,000 unique key codes. Okay. Again, 2,560,000 key codes are possible with this cipher. And again, here it is right here. I'm going to show it to you. Again, these all fit in your hand. Very, very simple. You see, it's in my hand. This is the Janelle cipher right there. And you see the wheels turn just like the Mexican Army cipher. You see? The Janelle cipher is a custom cipher that was made with modern add-ins. The company Creative Craft House, which has been making historical encryption devices for many years, began thinking about what would be the best possible non-computer-based cipher. Goals were ease of use, very highly secure, and uses letters and numbers, as well as 4 important keyboard symbols for the modern age, like the @ sign in emails, also hashtag, the period, and the /. Okay, so one could say, could I create my own cipher just using random symbols? Yes. Could I create a cipher that's just like this, but add more symbols that I would want to use? Yes. Could I create a cipher like this and not only have all of that, but even have, again, there's other symbols entirely that's embedded all within that as well? Yes. And the more you add, the more complex it will become if done correctly. So first, choosing the type of cipher. The first step in creating a cipher is deciding what type of cipher you want to create. This could be a simple substitution cipher where each letter is replaced with another letter or symbol, or something more complex like a transposition cipher where the letters stay the same, but their order in the word changes. Okay. Designing the key. Once you have chosen your cipher type, you need to design a key. This will determine how your cipher encrypts and decrypts the messages. For a substitution cipher, this might be a list of what each letter should be replaced with. Sometimes the key codes could be, again, the key to unlocking ciphers, as you somehow, many of you probably seen in movies and stuff like that, it could be like a phrase in a book, right? Or I'm sure you've seen these things in movies, but if you haven't, it could be literally anything. Let's see here. All right, testing your cipher. After creating your cipher, it is important to test it out. Try encrypting a message and then decrypting it again to see if it still makes sense. Also, consider how secure it is. Would it be easy for someone else to figure out your key? Using your cipher. Once you are happy with your cipher, you can start using it to send secret messages. Just remember, the purpose of a cipher is to keep a message secret, so be careful who you share your key with. Creating your own symbol, which is a logo, or could potentially even be a sigil. The process of creating a symbol. Creating a symbol involves several steps. Firstly, you need to identify the concept, idea, or value that you want your symbol to represent. Again, or your logo, right? We have some graphic designers out there, or your logo. Then brainstorm various designs that could effectively symbolize this concept. Start sketching and refining your ideas, always keeping in mind that your symbol should ideally be simple and clear. Factors to consider: context, culture, and simplicity. The context in which your symbol will be used can greatly affect its design. For instance, a symbol for a business should be professional and directly related to the company's services or values, like the Metacenter logo that you've seen, right? Has Chicago in it. It has the projects that many of you have participated in and supported, and so on and so forth. So when you see that, you instantly get that when you look. Culture. It is important to consider culturally interpretations and associations to avoid misunderstanding or offense. Some shapes, colors, and images can have different meanings in different cultures. Simplicity. Symbols should be easy to recognize and remember. Too much complexity can make your symbol confusing or difficult to reproduce. Many of you, of course, have consulted with me with your business logos and stuff like that, and you know exactly what I mean by that, because some things can get just too complex, and there's no need for it. So, of course, this is the Metacenter logo again, okay? As mentioned previously, the balloon with the box represents Project Etheric, which was the space research project where we sent monitoring equipment above the Earth. And the boat represents Project Whirlwind, which is when we set sail out into the Chicago vortex. And the buildings, of course, are downtown Chicago. So I'm going to play part of the video here. This here, what you see, this was, first off, shout out to the supporters of this particular project. Out of many of the projects we have done, all of them have been fun, and all of them we have learned something, okay? But Project Etheric was so interesting because not even from the engineering aspect of the monitoring equipment that we had to install to videotape this from 3 cameras and everything else, okay? But the fact that we sent something above the Earth as high as we did, which we went higher than pretty much all civilian, those projects who've done similar things like this. And so this is very interesting. Okay, so I'm going to hit the play again just so give a brief so some of you all can see this, since it will be the first time. So here we are at the park, and we let the equipment go. And of course, it's going up into the sky. Okay. Now it did this for about an hour. Okay, so I'm not going to play all that footage, but the footage is on our YouTube channel, and it was just going up into the sky for an hour. And with that, as it was going for an hour or so, of course, that footage I did cut up, and I brought it down quite a bit. So it brought it down to like 30 some minutes, something like that. So so here is it when it was pretty high up at this point. Let's see here. So of course it's above the Earth. There's 3 cameras there. One is looking at the sky, one is looking at the Earth, and the other one is looking at the horizon. Okay. It's going to keep going up for quite a while, and then eventually it gets completely quiet. Right now, you can still hear the wind blowing and everything else. Obviously, you see it's above the clouds. There's no clouds at the level it's at currently, so it's above all the clouds on Earth. Okay, and again, eventually it's going to get completely quiet, like almost like you put it in a room that had like what do you call it, like a sound dampening equipment around it and so forth. You see, it's even quiet right now, right? But you can still hear a little bit of wind. So this was a very interesting project, very, very interesting. It was a lot learned about the world around us and also what is possible. All right, so I'm going to continue on past this. If you're interested in that project, you can look at it in full on the Meta Center YouTube channel. So let's have some fun, okay? So it's fun time now. So everyone, I'm gonna give you a moment. Get a pen and paper handy. You want a pen, you want something to write with, pen, pencil, whatever, marker, and you want some paper, okay? Because you're about to be challenged. I'm sure you're gonna understand what needs to happen here. I'm gonna explain it, and there's gonna be some prizes that you can win, okay? We're going to be working with the two previous Cipher systems, which were the Mexican Army Cipher and the Janelle Cipher. Okay, I just want to give it a moment for you all to get your pen and paper ready. So there's going to be some rules to this game. Now, again, for those who are listening on YouTube and the other platforms, on YouTube, I put the link there so you can see, so you can go directly to the Zoom if you click on it. All right, so if you're on YouTube and you want to participate in the games we're about to do, because prizes can be won, click on that Zoom link that you see in the YouTube chat. For those on the other platforms, you'll want to go to the Meta Center website, which is metacenterchicago.com. Click on events, click on this event, which is the code and ciphers. In the description of that event calendar page, you're going to see the link to the Zoom call on that page. Okay, click on that. It's going to bring you here. All right, so the rules of the game, processes and procedures. Okay, of course, I mentioned grab something to write with and paper. There will be stories which relate to the critical. Okay, there will be stories which will relate to a critical situation. They are all important and relate to real life scenarios that are possible, but they are fictional. Okay, each scenario will become increasingly challenging. Each story gives a prize for the first winner. As we go along here, for those who do win, let's just say you win, but you don't care about the prize at all, then you can, say you don't want it. And then from that point, that prize will be added to the next challenge the next, challenge for someone to win. So that means they'll win 2 prizes. Okay. And so forth. To win the prize, you must complete it before typing it out or unmuting your mic. Unmuting your mic, saying you got it when you really don't, will forfeit your ability to win in the remaining games. Okay, so if you have broke a code and you know you broke the code, whichever way you prefer, if you prefer typing it out in the chat room, or if you prefer unmuting your mic and saying you got it, that's up to you. Okay, but you have to have it. All right, so when you have the answer, you can either type it out, your answer again, or mute your mic, whichever is fastest for you. If unmuting your mic is fastest for you, look at your Zoom screen now. Find the mic button. Okay, so I'm about to, one moment here. Let me do something here. One moment here. I'm about to give you all the ability to unmute your mics. All right, so all right, so for those who are not familiar with Zoom, and if you prefer to unmute your mic when it's time to, you know, if you may win, then again, try to unmute your mic now. Just hit the unmute button and then mute it again, just so you see how that works. If you prefer to type out your answer, then find the chat box in Zoom. Okay, so look on your Zoom console right now. There's a chat box. Okay, click on it so that it can be open and ready. All right, and maybe even try to type something if you're not familiar with it, just so you know how that works. Okay. So this first prize is going to be $25. Okay, a $25 Meta Center gift certificate. Okay. And so here's the scenario. All right, get ready, y'all. Okay, get ready. So here's the story. You and a friend just acquired your first two-way radio, the one pictured there, Biofang. Okay, a very popular two-way radio. And you wanted to practice using your comm setups. Comms is typically a term used in military communications or activities, equipment, techniques, and tactics used by the military. So on the battlefield or in a hostile territory, everyone needs to communicate, right? Well, that's when the comms specialists come into play. So your friend sent you a code to decode, okay? So you and your friend, you all just got some two-way radios, and you wanted to play around with it. So your friend sent you a code. Here it is. Write this code down, and we're going to move on to the cipher in a moment. Okay, write that code down you see on the screen, just like it is. Okay, write it down just like that. Okay, and then next we're going to go on to the cipher, and you have to, whoever's the first to break this message, okay? So write it down, give you a moment here. And even if you are on the other platforms, you're not on Zoom, still, I suggest you do participate with this as well. Okay, I'm giving you one more moment here. Okay, so now we're moving on now to the actual cipher. Here we go. Okay, there's the cipher. Break the code. Okay, each number, it aligns to a letter here on this Mexican Army cipher. When you got it, either type it out, I'm monitoring the chat room now, or unmute your mic. Remember everyone, on this cipher, you're trying to find the number, right, that you've seen previously. And that number, if you go up from that number, it represents a letter. Okay, all the other numbers that you see there are all just numbers that can be used in the cipher. Okay, but the letter, whatever number is under a letter, that's the letter that you want.
Tony, I think I got it. It's Anj. I think I have it.
Okay, Anj, you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't, these don't appear to be words, just appear to be letters. So I, T, W, O, R, K, S, O, K, L, K, K.
Okay. Yeah, it works okay. That is, yeah. So that's what it works okay. That's the, so Anj, you have won the $25 gift certificate. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so you all, we have 3 other challenges. Again, we're gonna get more complex as we go. So let me write down here. Again, that gift certificate can be used on any product or service. Okay. All right, I will reach out to you to let you know to give you your code. Okay, I'll be emailing you if I have your email already to give you that code. Okay, so Anj won the first challenge. Okay, now here's the second challenge, you all. This second one, the win prize is a $50 Meta Center gift certificate. Okay, $50 Meta Center gift certificate. And let's just go back real quick. Okay, I want you all to see something here. So, for example, I just want to make sure that I'm sure you all understand. Okay, but I just want to make sure you do. So, as for example, you see there 15, 26, 61, 21. Okay, 15, 26, 61, 21. Let's say 15. Okay, on the cipher wheel here, let's find 15. As you see 15 there, it's kind of like in the almost the lower left corner. Okay, and what's the letter above 15? It's I. You see? Now, I could have also chosen for I 33 or 73. Okay, it doesn't matter which one of those numbers I chose, it still corresponds with I. Okay, so the next letter was 26. Okay, 26, of course, as we see here, is in the upper right-hand side. That's under the letter T. Okay, T like Tony, right? And so, but also I could have used 44, 58, or 88. All of those also in this example correspond to that letter T, where I have the wheel currently set at. Okay, so again, it's very simple. All right, so as long as you know the cipher itself, you can easily break it. You just got to hurry, where everybody else here, you just got to hurry up and match that number to that letter. Okay. Okay, so this next one here, the prize is $50 gift certificate. Okay, $50. Okay, we're getting into big money here. Okay, can be used on any product or service. All right. All right. So you took a class that inspired you to pursue a hobby and then a career in codes, ciphers, and symbolism. You are learning the ins and outs. You live in a major city. The power went out. No TV, no radio, no internet. Currently, the government is silent. As of now, it just seems to be an outage, no biggie, but it gives you an opportunity to practice. So you turn on your comms equipment and a message comes in. Write this code down, everyone. We will move on to the cipher in a moment. Okay. Write the code down, everyone. Write the code. Now let's do it like this also. If you won previously, okay, if you won previously, still participate, but leave it, an opportunity for others to win. Okay. So again, you see here, write the code down. Okay. Again, we're going back to the example here. You took a class. Okay. And wow, I think it was this class, right? Okay. And you got interested in a career in code, ciphers, and symbolism. The power went out. The government is silent. but it gives you an opportunity to practice. So when you turn on your comms equipment, okay, your communications equipment, you turned it on, okay, you may have had a backup generator or whatever. And when you turn it on, a message comes into you, okay? And it was from the Meta Center, as you see. I wonder what the Meta Center is telling you. This one is longer, so I'm gonna give you a moment here.
I think I got it.
Okay. Okay. All right, let's see here. Okay, the floor is yours. What did the
All
code
right.
say?
Chick, grid down, suit up, NC.
NC?
Lastly, up, NO.
Okay, the last number was, let's go back here. Oh, okay. That was a
Oh,
typo.
NC, yeah, NC.
Okay, good, yeah. Okay, that was a typo on my end. You got it correct. Okay, it's supposed to have been a 4-9, which would have made that a W. Okay, so that was a typo on my end, but you did get it correct. And what this message said, okay, you ready, everyone? This message said, now remember, you want to also use, when you're transmitting a code, you want to use short form communication. Okay, so for example, CHIC, CHIC, was short for Chicago. But you don't want, remember, communication, you want it to be quick, you want it to be as efficient as possible to say what needs to be said. But also, again, you want this communication to stay secure as possible as well, because you best to believe all around us, there are many different types of entities, okay, who are monitoring communications around us. And I'm not even talking about the government, okay? I'm talking about there's all type of entities around that monitor all types of communications. And in some of these cases, it's not for the best. So you want, especially if something's happening, you want to be able to communicate as efficiently as possible without a lot of back and forth, okay? And so what this message says, so let's go back to the story. The story was, you took a class that inspired you to pursue a hobby and then a career in codes and ciphers and symbolism. You are learning the ins and outs. You live in a major city. The power went out. no TV, no radio, no internet. The government is silent. As of now, it just seems to be an outage. No biggie, but it gives you an opportunity to practice. So you thought this was practice time, right? When you turned on your equipment, a message immediately came in. So you wrote the code down, you used the cipher, and you broke it. And it said CHIC, CHIC, grid, GRID. So for those who did write it down, who may not have broke it just as quickly, write this down, okay? Write down what I'm saying. The first bunch of numbers, it came out to CHIC. The second bunch came out to grid, GRID. The next bunch came out to down, DOWN. The next bunch came out to suit, SUIT. The next was up, UP, and it's supposed to be N as in Nancy and W as in warrior. Okay, so NW. Okay, and so what is that saying? It's saying Chicago, grid down, suit up now. Oh man, we getting juicy. What's happening here? Why would the Meta Center send you a message from Chicago saying the grid is down, suit up now? What's going on? Okay, let's continue on, because this is getting deeper here. Okay, so appreciate you, Randy. So Randy won the $50 gift certificate. I'm writing it down here. So I will reach out to you as well to give you that gift certificate number so that you can use it for any product or service of your choosing. All right, so here's the next one here. The next story. The next story here will give you a $75 Meta Center gift certificate. Okay, $75. It could be utilized on any product or service. So now this next one here. Okay. Okay, let me make sure something here. I want to make sure. Okay, so with this here, this one's a little bit different. Okay. Okay, no, actually, okay, this same rules for this one. Okay, same rules. Here's the story for this one. Okay. The radio static starts. Greetings. This is Tony Vortex at the Meta Center in Chicago. If you are hearing my voice, this means you are within 30 miles of our location. We have food and shelter for those in need. If you have food and medicine, we are open for trade. This message repeats. Greetings. This is Tony Vortex at the Meta Center in Chicago. If you are hearing my voice, this means you are within 30 miles of our location. We have food and shelter for those in need. If you have food and medicine, we are open for trade. This message repeats 24/7. A few months ago, you had made it to Chicago. And when I say you, I'm talking about you all who are in this class. You made it to Chicago and have been working in comms. You monitor our assets in the field. Assets being our agents who are traveling sometimes dozens of miles to find the herbs, medicine, food, and other supplies that we need. An asset just checked in. So an asset 29487 just checked in and sent a code. So obviously, as we continue on the story, the grid is down, and it's been down for a while now. You're in Chicago with the Meta Center, and you know the important work that we do. So we have assets in the field all over the place. As again, they're out there finding the herbs that we need, the medicine that we need, and so on and so forth. And one of these assets of our community who is out there sometimes traveling dozens of miles to find what we need, checked in. Write this code down. We need to know what they're saying. What is this asset trying to tell us, you all? Everyone, what is this asset trying to tell us? Okay, I'm gonna give you one more moment to write this down. Okay. And of course, you know, it's a little bit of pressure on you right now because I'm sure everyone here understands how to do this at this point, right? But some people work faster, some people work a little bit slower, and that's okay. All right. Of course, right now we're dealing with speed because we're playing a game. But as long as you're able to get it on your own, then more power to you, right? That means that I did my job, and all of us being on a certain level with this information. So, and that's overall what it's about. All right, I'm about to change it. Okay, I'm going to give you one more moment here to write this down just in case. I'm about to change it here in a moment. Okay, I'm changing it now. This one's using the Janelle cipher. Okay.
Tony.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think I this one.
You think you got it? Is this Asia?
Asia speaking, yes.
Okay. So you think you got it. Hopefully you do. All right. So what do you have?
41,
Mm-hmm.
full stop, 8, 97, 15,
Okay.
87, full stop, 6, 24, 41.
You won. You got that. So now when you say full stop, just so everybody can understand here, what are you saying?
Period.
Yes. Okay. So do you know what this is? What does this look like?
I was thinking an address or GPS location, where to meet up. That's what I
Okay.
was
Okay. All right. So what this number is the latitude and longitude. Okay. I shortened it a bit. It was much longer than this, but I shortened it for the purpose of this game here. So, all right, Asia, you have won a $75 Meta Center gift certificate. Okay. So I'm going to reach out to you. Okay. And you can use it on any product or service. That's up to you. And so congratulations on that. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to this, everyone. Okay, so I'm about to type out in the chat room here on Zoom what the coordinates actually were here, just so you all have it. Okay. All right, and what these coordinates were latitude, longitude coordinates. Okay. Now, typically in a communication style like this, what would happen is that you will want the full longitude and latitude and longitude. And the reason why is because if you don't, it can potentially put, it could be a block off. Okay. And you don't want that. Okay. You want it as exact as possible. 6, 2, 4. Okay. So there you go there. Just posted it in the Zoom chat room. And so what is this? So let's go back here, right? So we know the story here, right? The story is, and coming in, see, it deals with the strength of radio signals. Okay, you could have a radio signal as strong as maybe just your living room, or you could have one that goes 2-3 blocks, or you can have one that goes a mile in every direction. Okay, so we were able to put up some comms to the equipment and have an antenna up with a radio strength that allows approximately 30 miles in every direction, which is a pretty decent distance. Of course, in this story, you hear Tony Vortex saying that he's from the Meta Center in Chicago and that we have food and shelter for those in need. Okay. And if you have food or medicine, we are open for trade, right? And this message just repeats all day, every single day. All right. And so in saying that, we have assets all in the field all around us. These assets are men and women, able-bodied men and women in the field, and they are searching the surrounding areas, sometimes traveling dozens of miles, okay, in one direction to find what we need. And of course, our assets that we are tracking, they need to, check in with us at certain time periods unless something is going on, okay? And so this asset, of course, checked in. They gave us a code. And the code was, it came out to some latitude and longitude coordinates. Okay, and so this is their location. So they're at the old Chicago water tower area here. There's a picture of where they're at. Here's a satellite photo of where they're at, which is downtown Chicago. Okay, I wonder what they're doing there, but they're checked in, that's where they're at. So they're still searching for what we need. All right. So, so for whatever reason, something brought them specifically to that location. Okay. So this is where they're at. Again, as I mentioned, the latitude and longitude numbers, it went about 4 to 5, maybe 6 more digits. But again, it was no need to do all of that for this game. Okay. Okay. So now, okay. So, okay. This one's a little bit different, you all. I didn't put an image there, or it got moved or something. So, but this is a little bit different one here. Okay, this is a major one. This is the last game for today. This one wins a $100 Meta Center gift certificate plus a 1-hour-long consultation with me, Tony Vortex. Okay, which is $125 in itself. The consultation could be over about whatever it is that you want to talk about. But you could combine them. We do have some consultations that are much more in price. You could combine them. Again, any product or service is up to you, but you do get a free 1-hour consultation as well. Okay. So now this is how this one's going to work. So make sure you listen to the rules of this one. Okay. You're going to be given multiple codes on this. Okay. Multiple codes. You're not going to chime in until we get through with the last one. Okay. And I will let you know when we're at the last one. Okay. And then once you have broken the last one, then you would chime in and give me all that was being said. Okay. So for now, when you see a code, you're going to write the code down. I'm going to show the cipher for you to decrypt it, but you just keep it to yourself for now until we get to the last one, which I will let you know. And then once you break that one, then the first to chime in gets a $100 Meta Center gift certificate plus a 101 1-hour consultation with me to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. It could be about your life. It could be about your business, because we are in interesting times, right? And I'm sure people could use, more revenue in their business. And of course, we are known for our unique ways of thinking that could help. Well, you get a free consultation and we could get deep into that. Okay. The sky is the limit. Okay. So that's just that here. So here's the story. Okay. Here's the story. Okay. It's getting a bit rough out here. On one side of Chicago, we have a complete war zone where gangs are fighting for territory. We call it no man's land. The other major occupier is to the north and is a self-declared dictator. Rumors are that slave labor and other nasty things are going on that I won't mention here. To the far south, there are other communities similar to ours, but we are hearing rumors of many of them being taken over by gangs or ex-military. Over the last 2 years, the Meta Center has went from just being a safe haven to now having to defend and keep safe our territory. Overall, we are left alone from the two major groups because they send their sick to us for healing, and they consider us a neutral zone. We have many elderly here, pregnant women, and children. All able-bodied men and women are assigned duties. Well, deep in no man's land, our assets found something important. Again, as I mentioned, the scenario will have multiple codes to decrypt. Keep on your piece of paper the decrypted code until I give you the go ahead to chime in. Okay, so you see this is getting quite serious. Okay, and this is how important, if you are really enjoying this so far, again, you may have a really nice life contributing to other entities that are around us in your respective role because of the greater mission at hand. Okay, this is getting serious, y'all. Okay, so let's continue on here. So the assets in the field, this is asset NMZ, which is short for no man's land. Okay, so this asset in no man's land sent this message. Now, again, write this down, but you're not, even after you decrypt it, you're not going to tell me what the message is. Okay, keep it to yourself. Don't put it in the chat room. Don't do any of that. Just keep it to yourself. Okay, write this code down and we will move on to the cipher in a minute. So this message came in late last night. Okay, it's always, it's the thing. Sometimes during the day things come in, but at nighttime, sometimes these messages come in. When they come in, many times it's something going on, So for now, I'll give you a moment to write that down. Okay, hopefully you have it by now. And so we're about to move on to the next part of the story. Again, do not tell me what it is. Write it down on your pad. Make sure you have it clear there so that when we get to the last portion and once you break that, you could chime in as soon as possible. Okay. So you see that message there in the blue? You want to write that down. Okay. Write that down as I tell you more about the story. Next, we sent them a message. Okay. Write down the code and we will view the cipher wheel next. We have to be careful when sending and receiving messages for a multitude of reasons. One being the more data that is sent back and forth, the higher the chance it will be decrypted. Also, the longer the message, the higher the possibility of decryption. It is best to keep messages as short as possible. When a signal is active, it has the possibility of being located. Okay? So when a signal is active, there's a strong possibility of literally the signal itself being located. So let's say someone wanted to know where you're at, right? And you're broadcasting certain messages at a certain time, let's say every day, right? And they're long messages, okay? These encrypted messages. And they don't know that what you're saying, but they know you're there, okay? And so there are ways to find out where you are at, okay? Just because of the signal itself. So the stronger the signal, the easier it is to locate it, okay? Okay, so we're going on to the next one. So, as mentioned previously, the pharmacy was completely stocked, an oasis located in the middle of barren land. On one hand, this was great because the medicine will last us years, but we are also in the devil's den, which means it is a heightened chance of something going wrong and may escalate tensions further. As the Meta Center senior members were up late into the night contemplating the seriousness of the situation, you came rushing in with a message from one of our teams. It was from those out in no man's land. So that's a big one there, you all. Okay. So now after you decrypt this one, then from that point, whoever's first to chime in, you got it. Okay. So write this last code down. You'll be presented with a cipher on the next slide. When you have the entire conversation, either type it out in the chat or unmute your phone and tell me what was being said. Okay. So this one's much larger. So write that one down. I'll give you a moment here.
I think I got it, Tony.
Okay. Who's speaking?
Joe.
Okay, Joe. All right. So let's start with the first one first. What did the first one say?
Well, it says far full plan.
Okay. The next one?
SECU,
Mhm.
INCO, HECO.
Okay, let's see here. Should be, let me go to that one here. It should be 67. 67. $67 here.
Oh, I see now it's the M.
Okay, it actually shouldn't even been an M, but continue on. Okay, and what's the next one?
SCCU,
Mhm.
HPAT,
Mhm.
5, YRC, SUQQ plan.
Okay, so the QQ should have been a, let's see here, 104 and 17. 104, where is that at here? Oh, 4. Okay. Yep. Okay, cool. All right. So you got it, Joe. Okay. Okay. You good. You good to go. So Joe here has won the $100 Medicine gift certificate, and she won the consultation. All right. 125 value for that. I do appreciate, your focus in getting it done as quickly as possible. So when I had the wheel up, I was doing this late into the night. So shout out to you, Joe. Good job. So let's go back, everyone. So we all could move on this together. And I'm gonna go through the story again so it all makes sense. Okay. So yes, I was doing this late last night and looking at the wheel, I transposed some numbers and letters where they weren't supposed to be. But overall, based on the numbers that you all see on the screen, she got it perfectly there. And that's just that. Okay, so the first one here, this was a message. Remember, the story is, of course, that I talked about the major occupiers in Chicago, at least the main groups. There's a lot of chaos happening. It's lawlessness, right? And even though there are some areas where, just like ours, where people are who have come together and who are, it's a society, right? Society, people are functioning how they should, and so on and so forth. We have those who want to control and cause chaos, right? And one of those major areas is on in one area of Chicago. We call it no man's land. And of course, to the north of Chicago, there's a self-imposed dictator who enslaves people and is doing other very, very nasty things that, of course, I'm not going to mention, right? So we also heard rumors that to the far south, that even though there are some communities like ours that we do trade with, we have heard that some of them have been taken over by gangs and ex-military. So it's been 2 years since that original grid down scenario. So when you were in that major city and you were just practicing your codes, ciphers, and symbolism, and you got that message in from the meta center saying the grid is down, suit up. This is 2 years from that point. Okay. Of course, what we do is extremely important. There's a lot of course, as I mentioned previously, there are, elderly men and women, there are pregnant women, and there are children who are all in our custody, right? And so we have to protect all these people. We have to protect ourselves. We have to make sure we keep functioning, because we have also, some of us have children in our area as well, right? So in that, our asset, let's see here, one moment here. In that, one of our assets in no man's land, okay, sent us a message. And this message was, it was decoded to be FAR, PHAR, full, FULL, and then plan, PLAN. Okay, remember, the Meta Center, when you are truly communicating with people, you should have some type of way of communicating. So this is a short form way that the Meta Center speaks with their assets, and their assets speak with the Meta Center, right? So FAR, PHAR, is short for pharmacy. Okay. The asset said pharmacy full plan, asking us for the plan. Okay, because they're not just they through the hierarchy of the way things are, the structure, they can't make major decisions on their own. They have to, of course, ask for the next set of directions, what to do. Even though they have liberty to make the moves they need to make in the field, they still need to ask, because it's a community. This is a structure here, right? This is not a lawless space. So the asset said the pharmacy is full, and what is the plan? Okay, so we sent back to them. Okay, that's the message back in blue, back to them. We sent the message back saying SECU, secure. The next line is INCO, which was short for incoming. And of course, the last one was help, HELP. Okay, so secure it. We're telling them to secure it, but help is incoming. Okay. The next one here was a message from them, right? So before the next message came in, as mentioned previously, the pharmacy was completely stocked, right? As they said, the pharmacy is full. Okay. An oasis located in the middle of a barren land. The barren land, of course, is no man's land, where gangs are fighting pretty much 24/7. Okay. On one hand, this was great because this medicine will last us years, but we are also in the devil's den, being no man's land. Violence is all around us, right? Violence is all around that area. That area is swamped in it, okay? Which means it is a heightened chance for something going wrong and may escalate tensions further. So, of course, because it's 2 years later, the grid has been down, people are tense, right? Think about it. Right now, people, right now in the world around us, as we literally speak, as I'm speaking now, there are a lot of changes taking place, and people are worried, right? But still, right now, people, for the most part, are not recognizing that they actually have the power within them, okay? And meaning that society can be however people want society to be, okay? But in mass, people haven't really still realized that yet, okay? So in short, we had to create a secure society because people are not really realizing that. So anyhow, the reason why tensions will be escalated further is because, of course, the meta center is supposed to remain neutral. Okay, we're supposed to remain neutral, but of course, too, we have many in our care that we have to take care of, and we have assets all over the place, even in other states, right? So if they found out that we have assets, okay, these are let's say armed military operating agents in the field in their areas, well, who knows what that may happen at that point. Okay, it just may be an argument, okay, or they may come in mass to cause chaos directly to us. Who knows? I mean, you don't know. Okay, so tensions may escalate, right? So again, later that evening, that night, once we found out this was going on, the meta center, let's say the senior members of the meta center, we were having a conversation late into the night because we have to decide what we're going to do. There's a lot of risk with this, right? And remember you who came from 2 years ago, who now is, you could say, is high ranking now in comms, okay? You came rushing in and you had a message that was just decrypted from our assets in no man's land, right? And they said in this last message here, which was much larger, they said to us, secure. So they're saying that it's secure, okay? Or secured. HPAT, okay? The next word was HPAT, okay? What they're really saying there is hostiles patrolling. Again, this is our short form, okay? It may not make sense to you saying it that way, but you would come up with your own short form language if this was the case, okay? Your own short form language to speak, right? But for us, this is how we spoke, right? And HPAT for us means hostiles patrolling, okay? They also said 5YR, period, okay? They're saying that there's 5 years, and then the next word was SU. It said QQ, supposed to be in PP, but I put the wrong number there, so it was QQ. But it's supposed to be 5 year supply, Okay, so the assets in the field that now have secured it, saying that it's secure, hostiles are patrolling, 5-year supply, and then they put the last word was plan, PLAN. Okay, they're asking us again, what's the plan now? Okay, we secured it. We're pretty much in hostile territory. We see hostiles patrolling around us. What do you want us to do? Right? So the situation is precarious. There are so many moving parts, but we are happy that we have good, focused, and caring people like you. You have been with us for some years now and have been promoted multiple times, and now you are a senior communications analyst. You have devised a way for our comms to be more secure by setting up a mesh network across parts of the city. Smart. That was very smart of you, which means it was worth the risk to get those books you needed from the library. You know, I always push knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, and I'm so happy that you took the time to pursue your interests, as without none of this may have been possible. But with that being said, we have a serious situation that we need to improve our odds on. We have been strategizing to, that's the end of that story. You say, but I ended it on a certain note, right? You say strategizing to what? Well, if you want to learn more, give us a call, send us an email, and make a comment. Let us know that you are enjoying these types of classes. And then we can go deeper in this interactive way where we all learn. We're all learning these seemingly complex subjects, but in a fun way where, who knows, it could just be a fun Saturday that we spend together, or it could lead to a prosperous endeavor for you or your children or for a friend or whatever it may be. Okay, so let us know what you enjoy and want to see more of. Do you want to go deeper into this specific subject or something else? Become a member. Without our monthly supporting members, and of course those who support, period. Okay, for those who do go to our website, we do have over 200 products dealing with health, dealing with wellness. We have magnetics, we have EMF protection, we have crystals, we have tons of different types of services, we have projects. So there are many of you who support that way, which is absolutely fantastic, and we appreciate you. But there are also those who not only support that way, but they also put in a monthly membership. Okay, so without our monthly supporting members, this class may not have been possible. So I'm going to give you some information to check out here. Again, for now, don't worry about writing it down. This is going to be on YouTube, and you can take screenshots and stuff like that to, and go to these websites that you need to go to. So check out ARRL.org, which is the National Association for Amateur Radio. The ARRL, you will learn about radio frequencies, communication equipment, and more, which will allow you to become a licensed, this is a government license that you will have, which will allow you to use more powerful equipment to communicate worldwide. In many cases, the test to become the first tier, they have like 3 tiers. The first tier is like $5. It doesn't cost much at all. Okay, because they just want people to be able to learn it. So if the grid were to go down, you would learn, you would know how to communicate and could be able to communicate important information nationwide, right? And it's called pretty much ham radio, for those who haven't heard the term ham radio, right? But ham radio deals with pretty much communication equipment, how to use it, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's ARRL.org. The CIA.gov. Okay, CIA is home to some of the greatest cryptographers in the world. The CIA is cloaked in mystery, but what is known is that communication is key, as it may be the difference between life and death. So the NSA.gov, which is the National Security Agency, which we also talk about the National Security Agency, right? From the siphoning of all the communications on the internet to the analyzing of encrypted communications of terrorists. Okay, there's the armed forces in the military. In the military, you would be able to learn some of the deepest mysteries of these art forms, which may be used to build or destroy. And of course, MetaCenterChicago.com, okay, which is us, right? So, and of course, the Meta Center, where we have classes such as this, and we do all types of experiments, whether it be space research or researching the deepest aspects of ourselves. Like many of you are familiar, you were at the psychology class, which is the soul's doorway. Okay. And so we dive into many different subjects, and we try to do it as deeply as possible in a way that we all can understand. And many of you have reached out. Many of you have even shared that particular video with friends and family and everything else. And it actually warms my heart that it had that kind of impact. So I appreciate you all for being present with that. So I'm going to go past this. This is just, I'm leave some books, some links, and some other things that you can do some research on. Okay. These are, if you want to go deeper into codes and ciphers, here's a bunch of references for that. Okay. Again, this will be on the YouTube, and you could just screenshot it at that point or write it down. Okay. Here's books dealing with symbolism. All right, so these books are specifically ones that deal with symbolism. If you want to go deeper into that, again, which will help, especially if you are even in the, again, graphic design world, stuff like that, this can help with that substantially. Here's some journal articles. Okay, it still has books at the top, but no, these are journal articles here that go into certain aspects of what we talked about. Again, these are websites, not books, that deal, again, with the subject that we were talking about. Here's some online courses. Again, even though I gave you a bunch of books, again, online courses, you got 2 online courses here, stuff like that. There are many more out there, okay? And I'm a phone call away. That is, I can only put so much in this presentation. And so if a comment or question does come up that is quick, if it's really, really quick, you can just call anytime, okay? But if it's something that you want me to really, we want to be as detailed as possible and you want to take our time, then schedule a free consultation, okay? 30-minute consultations are free on the website. You can book them anytime you choose to. Ideally, I say once a month for the free ones, and that's just that. Okay, so are there any questions or comments? This is the time for questions or comments. For those here on Zoom, if you have any questions or comments, type them out in the chat room or unmute your mic. Whoever unmutes first, and you can speak. And we will talk about whatever we need to. If there's no questions or comments, or when those questions or comments end, then we will call it a day. And this will be up on YouTube later on this evening. Okay, so it will be up there for you.
Hey, Tony, it's Joe.
Greetings, Joe.
First of all, I want to say thank you. I feel really connected to encoding or decoding. So, yeah, I really enjoyed the games. When you first said, let's have some fun, I'm like, yeah, right, that's going to be fun. But when I think about how I've always been from a young girl all the way till now, I've always decoded things. I see things that people don't see. So I can't wait to get my hand on some ciphers. And yeah, I'm looking forward to my consultation and learning and participating in more, because I see myself having a location, a hub in Michigan as one of the assets for the Meta Center. So thank you. We got to finish that story.
There it is. There it is. I appreciate you as well and all the kind words. So, all right. Okay, so, all right. So I'm reading some of the comments here. Okay, so I'm going through here. I mean, if you made a lot of comments, let me know. Did you all enjoy it? Let me know in the chat room. Let me know, unmute your mic. Let me know if you enjoyed today's class here.
Greetings.
Greetings, Remy.
Yes, I come in a little late, so it's very interesting. And it reminds me of how do they say military code, like how military does use 111-333, something like that. So yeah. By the way, thanks for everything. So yeah.
Thank you, Remy.
Yeah. I sent you an email. I don't know if you saw it, but yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Appreciate your long-term support. You've been supporting for quite some time. So we appreciate you as well. Somebody had mentioned, Miro, you had mentioned about this video. The video will be on YouTube in a few hours. Okay. And when it comes to these wheels, you can purchase them on Amazon. Again, there's many different types of ciphers. This is not the only ones. Okay. There's all types of ciphers. And of course, you could create your own as well. Okay. So this class gave you a good starting point. If you go to Amazon and you type in Mexican military cipher, the same wheel that I use today will come up. If you put in the Janelle cipher, it will come up as well. Okay. Okay, everybody, I'm looking at the comments here. People are saying they really enjoyed it. All right. One person said, Kale said, I never thought codes and ciphers could be fun, yet very important.
There is no truth until you decide what truth is. Each person should find that truth out for his or herself.